ladies and gentlemen, Bob Metcalfe.
Thank you.
So Bob.
So John asked me to do this last night, and he failed to mention who would be speaking before me.
Yeah, you like Daniel Kraft?
And not only Daniel Kraft, Robert Scoble, for example, was before me.
Yeah. Robert, too.
Patty Mays.
Yeah, she's a big deal.
Yeah, these are tough acts to follow.
Yeah, you're doing great. But on the video library, you won't know who went before you or after you. So Robert, or Bob, tell us about Metcalfes Law and why is that relevant today?
We've been discovering over and over again that connectivity is powerful. In fact, that's the single most important new fact about the human condition is we are connected. And so as we navigate through AR land, just as we navigated through internet land, we're going to find that those applications that connect people or leverage the connections among people will tend to win.
What led to seeing the opportunity for the network effect?
I was selling cards that you would plug into a PC that would put you on the internet. And the trouble was there were no PCs and there was no internet, which is a difficult sales challenge. So we sold a bunch of these cards to people and they worked, but they weren't useful. So Metcalfes Law was a sales tool which said that your 3-node network is not useful because it's below critical mass. So you have to get above critical mass, and the way you do that, of course, is to buy more of our products. And in that chart, which by the way was not done on PowerPoint since there was no PowerPoint, was a 35mm slide and became Metcalfes Law. But I think Metcalfes Law applies to AR. That is, this isn't a very exciting time, this AR thing about which I know almost nothing.
He emailed me and said, is this accounts receivable?
In 1966, in Building 26, my roommate Ernie and I wrote a simulator of elementary life forms on the TX0. Little creatures running around a screen eating food with the sun rotating around them, and they would run away from the sun. And what we learned there, as soon as that simulation became interesting, that is, enough reproduction had occurred, the whole computer bogged down because it couldn't run the simulation fast enough and it became boring. So we've had to wait all these years for Moore's Law to make our AR possible.
So we have a real range of talent here, and a lot of people are here to understand what are the opportunities in AR and they want to lead in it. Can you talk a little bit about things that you've seen or experienced or helped lead that you think might be relevant?
Well, the search for the killer app, and you just saw 50 killer apps. You've seen 50. 50 is not a good number. You need one. So what is the killer app going to be? So I remember Steve Jobs called me once and got me to come down to Cupertino, and he showed me this Apple II running, had little boxes on a screen. In fact, I think Dan and Bob are here today. It was a spreadsheet, and Steve was convinced that this was the killer app for the PC. It turned out to be the killer app for the PC. And then I think Google became the killer app for the internet. So what's the killer app for AR? So I'm really curious about that because I think in history there have been these killer apps that sort of project things into the future. What is and I think the killer app will be something that either connects people or leverages the connection of people.
So you were at PARC in the early days. What was that like?
Heaven on earth, beanbag chairs, transcendental meditation, first class travel, very smart people, got to hang around them, and we got to do whatever the hell we wanted. So we would sleep until we got tired and wake up when we awoke and processed around the clock. It was wonderful.
Yeah. What is...
We were building our own tools, by the way.
Yeah.
So the reason that we built the laser printer was to print our own memos. The reason we developed Ethernet is so we didn't have to carry our diskettes over to the laser printer and so on. So it was a tool building exercise.
And from that period in your life, what do you think is relevant for some of the people here that are trying to think about AR?
I would look for time machines. So Xerox PARC was a time machine. It allowed us to go 10 years into the future and suspend all sorts of constraints and pretend, and then build it out and see what it would look like. And that was why my company was successful ultimately after that, because I had an unfair advantage. Unlike my competitors, my team, we had been to the future in that time machine. So there were AR time machines. I saw several of them flash by this morning. That's where the answers will be found. Whereas the constraints of the current reality are suspended temporarily, and then you see how it plays out, and that's where it's going to go.
Yep. So you're a mathematician, you're a technologist, you're a sales marketing guy, and you're an investor. What do you think
I'm a professor now.
And now professor, yeah, in Austin. What do you think some of the people here need to know about engaging money, like to get money to kind of support their endeavors?
Well, one thing is not to view raising money as begging. It is not begging, it is selling. So if you want to be successful, you don't beg for money. You explain to the investors how it's going to be good for them.
Mm-hmm. So people say desktop, laptop, mobile, and this is the next platform. Do you believe it?
Yes.
Why?
It's just straightforward. You know, the original internet ran on uppercase only teletypes. And then we added upper and lowercase with a red and a black ribbon. And before you know it, we were using all of ASCII, and then audio came on, and then video came on, and then streaming video came on. It is like a natural progression, and here's AR, just the vector is going right to AR.
Yep. So you've changed the vector of technology. What are you most proud of?
So the plumbing of the internet is Ethernet, and I'm most proud of that. Here's how proud I am. I got a call from, have I mentioned Steve before? So I got a call from my friend Steve inviting me. He said he's going to send a limo to my house and come to the Pixar premiere of Toy Story at the De Anza College on Stevens Creek Boulevard there in Cupertino. The limo came, I went, I saw the movie, it was gorgeous, I'm coming out. And there was Steve, and I said, Steve, what a great movie, that was gorgeous. I want to remind you though, Steve, that every single pixel of that beautiful movie was carried many times on Ethernet.
Did he pay you royalty for that?
No, he did better than that. He turned to me and he smiled and he said, thank you.
So sometimes it's when you lose something you appreciate the most. You were based in Boston for a while. Now you're in Texas. What do you think Boston has going for it to be an AR capital?
Well, 10 major research universities, 100 in the general vicinity. That's the principal asset, the people and the ideas coming from those research universities. That's what I do these days, is my specialty is helping startups emerge from research universities.
Yep. Any predictions you got wrong and you want to talk about why you may have gotten them wrong and what were the implications for that?
Well, if you go to my Wikipedia page, and I do have one, so it's a step in the right direction. Yeah. It's just wrong because it emphasizes the times that I was wrong. And one of them was a prediction, this 1996 prediction that the internet would suffer a gigalapse, 1 billion lost user hours in a single outage. Yeah. And I was off by a factor of 8, for which I ate my InfoWorld column. Yeah. I got more publicity by eating that column than I have by inventing Ethernet.
So you were here 2 days, you flew in from Texas, you looked at the schedule. What are you excited about in this program?
Are all those people going to show up?
Yeah, no, they're here. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing what you've done. When he says jump, I ask how high on the way up. And so he showed me this list of, I think it was a fictional list of speakers at this conference. And I said, I want to be there for that. I want to hear that. Yeah. This is going to be transformational. So now I'm putting the ball back in your court.
Yeah. So this block is going to be similar to tomorrow morning, where everything is just happening on this stage. But the 3 blocks after this, and there'll be a break until 11:30, there's going to be concurrent activities going on. And we're recording them with video. And so if you have, I think it's FOMO, my kids talking about, if you feel like, oh, I wish I was in that room and I miss it, we're recording it, you'll see it. And we also think because panels have people and entourages that they're going to help fill the different rooms. But there's a lot going on. And we think that this is the way to help jumpstart a great community in the AR community, and having people like you here as an advisor or a young Turk to kind of learn what's going on because you think AR is accounts receivable can be good.
Can I tell a joke?
Yeah, work it.
Can I end the session by telling a joke?
Yeah, tell a joke.
I mean, is this the end now?
Yeah, bring it on. Joke away, joke away.
So, you know, I invented Ethernet. Well, for certain values of I and invented and Ethernet, but with certain values, I invented it. And I'm a member, in fact, of a society of people who have invented things that you plug your PC into. So the inventor of HDMI is there, and the inventor of USB is there, and even the old guy who did RS-232 is there, and I'm there representing Ethernet. And we have quarterly meetings, and the last quarterly meeting was kind of sad because one of the inventors had died. The inventor of USB had passed on, Intel guy. And so the meeting became a funeral, and we the attendees, were the pallbearers, and we carried the coffin of the inventor of USB to the cemetery, to the grave. And we're lowering it into the grave, and it jammed. So we had to pull it out and rotate it 180 degrees, and then we had to put it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Metcalfe,